to win. There is no alternative. It's not just a statement of intent. It's a promise to our nation. A promise kept for more than 2 centuries. A promise of the Marines.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Jared Mans from the Spring Lake Fire Department, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Okay, good morning, Rick Remsnyder.
Lawrence, how are you this morning?
I'm good. I woke up a little late, but I got a good night's sleep, though. As you can tell from my voice.
So, boys, listen I'm looking at this list of the...
That was all confirmed on Monday, so
wow.
I've been handing them out to the hosts all week. Yeah, that's a good lineup, right?
Really? I don't know, you got 8:30 and 9 o'clock slots a little weak with me, but other than that, it's a good lineup.
Hey, no, we put a lot of time into the Happy Christmas Fund this year. We started working on that thing in July, and I think we're going to have our best year ever. I'm really looking forward to it. Me, Tony, Greg Chorvis, Bob Circusano, my mother, we've all put a lot of time into it this year to make it the best year ever. And, you know, we were tired of doing these, like, small little radiothons throughout the year. We figured we'd do one big one and incorporate KCR with it. And that will keep us going, take care of the children as well as KCR. You know, because our rent keeps rising here each year. It's not like the old place where it was just, you know, $1,500, you know.
Right.
So but it's good, though. I mean, this year we sent out letters to, all the businesses on the Ulster County Chamber of Commerce list because we're members of that, and Ward Todd helped us out with that. We got a real good response from that so far, so everything's looking good.
This is the first time you've done it like 2 days after the election? Or is this annual?
It's been happening like that for, I'll have to ask my mother, but as long as I can remember.
It's always been this time period?
Yeah, it's always been the first Thursday of November.
Okay.
I remember when I was a little kid, and then I used to come up after school, and they'd still be in the office, and what was his name? I forget Ed Garzarelli used to own McDonald's. Mm-hmm. And he used to come up in the morning with, bags of Egg McMuffins, and, you know, the disc jockeys would be eating them, the people on the phones would be eating. And there used to be like 6 or 7 people answering the phone for Happy Christmas Fund. It was on a much smaller scale then.
Right.
See, last year we had our best year ever at like $65,000 or $62,000. And then me, Bob Circusano, Greg Chorvis, and Tony, and, you know, with my mother in tow, like talking, you know, all 5 of us working together. We figured, like, you know, we only shot for $50,000 last year and got like 62 or 65. I forget what the number was. And we're like, geez. And we didn't think we were going to get that much, you know, because of COVID and all that. We were, you know, shocked with the outpour. So we were like, you know what? Maybe we can, you know, if we could get to like 80 or 90 or even 100, you know, we could take care of both the radio station because we needed to. You remember because you were here answering phones in March. Yep. Remember we had the radiothon in March. We raised like $20,000.
Yep.
Which was actually pulled us through until like last month, so it actually did pretty good.
Yeah.
And now, if we hit our goal, that'll be able to bring us through until next year. With the Happy Christmas Fund, I think we need like 40,000. That's what it is. It's about, I think it's 435 families, and it's around 1,000, between maybe it's 1,000 or 1,100 children.
Right.
I mean, the lists are pretty thick. I mean, it takes me and my mother, after she goes through all the lists and makes sure there's not duplicates on there, we got to put them into the system, type out the labels, get the target cards, stuff the envelopes. I mean, it's, we're going to be busy until the first week of December, until they're all, me and my mother don't take a deep breath until all the, and most of the nurses and the school social workers will come and pick them up. That's what we recommend that they do. Some of them, though, that are in Phoenicia, some of the outlying Ulster County schools, we have to mail those out.
Right.
So, but most of the Kingston City schools, like, Bailey and Edson and Chambers, and, we've been dealing with the social workers and the nurses for years. Most of them I know. Some of them I grew up with. So they'll come by the studio, grab the cards, and distribute them to the children, to the mothers and the families and such. So, we're looking. The more money we get, the more children that we can help.
Yeah. Well, let's hope people are
but it
listening.
has to go through a vetting process. It's not like you can't just call up the radio station and be like, hey, I want to get on the list. You got to if you do want to get on the list, if anyone's listening and you do want to get on the list for the Happy Christmas Fund, the best way to do it, your child has to be in school, and they have to be in the age range, or the age group, I should say, of 5 to 15, and they have to be in school. Those are the minimum requirements. If you meet those two requirements, you can contact your school nurse or the school social worker, and they can go about getting into contact with us. We know every single one of them in Ulster County. Me and my mother know all of them by first name. In contact with them all the time. And we've always, last year we had room to put extras on because we had extra money. So.
Right. I just got a text from a listener that the video's not working. You can hear us, but the video's not on. So I know people want to see my smiling face. There we go.
Yeah, I did that yesterday. I'm sitting here eating my breakfast. See, when you get to work late, you forget to hit buttons.
Things happen,
Well,
So
I'm glad we got people paying attention. Thank you.
No problem.
Was that your girlfriend that did that?
Yeah, she's on
All
top
right,
of
good.
things. Tamara.
See, the other day that happened. Actually, last week that happened, and Leanne Mormo did the same thing. She texted Tony and said, hey, you're not on the thing. Sweet.
So here's my pet peeve of the day. As you well know, I worked for the Daily Freeman for about 13 years, and one of the biggest weekends in high school sports was always the Kingston Newburgh.
Is that this weekend?
That is Friday. You wouldn't know it by picking up the Freeman. I got to tell you.
They're not promoting that this weekend? Is it here in Kingston?
No, it's in Newburgh.
Oh, that's probably why then.
Well, I mean, there's no excuse. After the Freeman, let me go on for this for a second. After the Freeman went on the last week or so, patting themselves on the back for 150 years of service to the community, which is a nice accomplishment, well deserved. Can you at least promote the biggest high school football game of the year? I hate to say this, when I was there, however, way before me and after me, when Ira Fussfeld was the publisher and Ed Palladino and Steve Kane were the sports editors, we used to do a series of 2 or 3 stories leading up to the Kingston-Newburgh game, one of the oldest high school football rivalries in the state and in the country probably. We'd list all the winners every year and make a big deal out of it. Unless you...
The MVP.
What's that?
The MVP of the game.
Well, yeah, afterwards, of course, we would do that. But I'm saying leading up to the game, which is tonight, unless you go to Kingston
High School.
The
history of who won each game going all the way back to the 1800s.
Yeah. So it's just pathetic. I've got to call it as I see it. Guys, get your act together.
Yeah, and it's not only a big high school football rivalry in Kingston, it's the oldest, longest-standing rivalry in all of America. It goes back to, 1880, 1898?
I'd have to go back and look, but it's definitely one of the longest-running rivalries.
It goes back to when Kingston High School was Kingston Academy, when it was across the street from Governor Clinton?
Right.
Or actually, was the Governor Clinton even there then? No.
I don't know. I wasn't alive back then.
No, I wasn't.
But, this is something that, you're going to hear, we're short-staffed. Come on, please.
They're not even really based out of Kingston. Well, actually, no. They're on Green Street now, are they?
Now they're new offices, yeah. Aren't they? I was reading Hugh Reynolds' blog earlier the week, and he mentioned that is part of the office behind where you guys used to, where the studio used to be. Says it's in the back of that.
It is. It's right here. If you when you walk out of here to get into your car today, look to your left.
Right.
And they're right at the edge of this parking lot in the back over here.
Right.
They're in the Ryan Roach and Ryan building.
Right.
115 Green Street, I believe.
Right. Yes.
They're
correct.
right next to Nancy Risley's building, 111 Green, where Paul Gruner and everyone works.
But actually, Kingston, they still have the Kingston football team still has a chance to get into the playoffs.
Really?
Well, they haven't beat. They're going to have to beat Newburgh, but they haven't beaten Newburgh in 8 straight times. But they're having a up and down season. But not to have a word in the paper is just. Do you have the Freeman today?
I don't read that paper.
Well, it's not on the digital, so if it's not on the digital, I'm sure it's not. In the paper.
My mother reads it.
But anyway, so there's a big high school football game at Newburgh tonight, 7:00. So if you didn't know about it because you don't get your information from the Daily Freeman, you can get your information here, and we'll see. Hopefully, Kingston does well. There's a lot of other big games this weekend, high school football games, and another thing that's a little sad. John Ford, who was the Section 9 football chairman for years, and he was former New Paltz High School football coach, athletic director. He was one of the guys that got the ball rolling for state playoffs, football playoffs. And, of course, there used to be a lot of Section 9 games leading up to the Section 9 championships, playoff games at Dietz Stadium. Unfortunately, John passed away last year. There's not one playoff game in Dietz Stadium anymore.
Really?
They pulled them all out. They're playing in places like Goshen. Nothing wrong with playing it in Goshen, but
is that because the facilities at Dietz are not up to par? Because I know I was reading in the Freeman not too long ago that they got a $13 million grant to
absolutely.
Fix the place. I know the bleachers in the grandstand needs it. They're still the same. I graduated high school 30 years ago. So
yeah, when this started to go down the road about 5 years ago, when Middletown opened this unbelievable facility by the high school, they took a lot of the playoff games away because it's so much nicer. It's got artificial turf, the unbelievable press box facilities.
Well?
What's that?
Do they have track and field as well?
Yes, and the reason that they're not having the football playoffs at the sectional level at Middletown this year is because they have the state soccer playoffs because there's so many great fields there. So Kingston lost that, and they're losing it to smaller schools like Goshen has a new facility. I believe Class C is going to be at Rondout Valley, which has a nice field and everything. But Kingston's facilities have been so subpar for years that I was afraid that when Mr. Ford passed away that was going to be the end of it. So, yes, they pulled all the playoff games away, and hopefully now when this $13 million they'll finally get the Dietz Stadium up to par, but they're going to have to bid for it again, so we'll see. But it's no playoff football games at Dietz Stadium this year.
I remember when I was in high school, at Kingston High School, I graduated in 91. My 10th grade year, I played JV football on grass. My 11th grade year, I played varsity football on turf. And it was like a whole new... Now, they didn't do anything to the grandstand.
Right.
They added those big metal bleachers across for the visiting team.
Right.
But they didn't do anything to the locker rooms. Yes, the track was there.
Now, how long ago have you... when did you graduate?
Class of 91.
Nothing has been done to upgrade facilities since then.
Yeah.
The only thing that was done
when they
was
did that, though, back then, it was beautiful. But
Yeah.
that was 30 years ago.
Bruderhoff did put in a new...
Yeah, they did. Oh, that okay. Bruderhoff did
put
that.
in the new turf field.
And the track, right?
Right. So they did a nice job with that.
And they generated revenue from that, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And the thing is, these football teams and, different types of all other sports playoffs, lacrosse and soccer.
Right, and track and field. Other
Track and field.
And the city gets the revenue from that? Or does it go to half to the school, half to... How does that work?
This, I believe, the Deet Stadium Commission gets the fees, and that was a joint city school district operation. So
obviously, you have to pay somebody. So the city takes care of it, the maintenance and stuff. And
right,
such, right.
But the thing it is, that's good revenue, but. The larger picture is it was great for Uptown Kingston, the Best Western, D Stadium Diner,
sure.
Hoffman House. All these people are
Deet's
coming.
Diner loved it.
They're
Friendly's
coming from out of the area.
Yeah, Friendly's was packed every time that there was a game. I myself went there. I miss Friendly's.
Yeah,
I used to love Friendly's.
Don't get me started on Friendly's.
Why?
They started. Kingston used to have 3, and now they're down to 0. So
yeah, my mom used to take me there as a kid. The black raspberry ice cream was the best. But we got Boyce Brothers now, so and that's probably, probably a lot better for you than there's probably a lot more sugar in Friendly's ice cream than there is in Boyce Brothers. But
well, of course, we're very partial to Boyce Brothers. So anyway, we have a good show today. We have Brian Woltman, County Legislature Chairman,
running for
candidate,
alderman, right? No, running for legislator.
Legislature, and then we have Steve Peruso. Brian's coming at 7:30. Steve Peruso's at 8, running for alderman, and then at 8:30 we have Jess Davis from the Ulster County Regional Chamber of Commerce. There was a great dinner last night that was held at Diamond Mills. With the chamber, with all their awards. So,
Who did you go?
No, I didn't go. No,
Me neither.
Actually, I was.
I went to Woodbury.
Well,
Commons,
yeah,
where all the
sure.
clothes are?
No,
I
I
didn't
was
leave till like 3:30.
covering
I got back at like 7.
I was covering a town board meeting last night.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Nice. Which one?
Town of Shawangunk.
Wow. How'd that go?
Here's a funny oh, great. Yeah. John Volk's the supervisor. They unveiled their tentative budget. Here's a funny story. When I was tourism director, we used to host I was the master of ceremonies for the opening ceremonies of the Ulster County Fair every year. So the first year I did it. Now, this is something that the town of Shawangunk is spelled like Shawangunk, like Shawangunk Country Club.
Like the mountain range.
Right. So the first year I was there, I was introducing all the supervisors, all the county officials who were there, and the fair officials, and all the 4-H people. So I made the mistake of calling the town of Shawangunk the town of Shawangunk. I got Supervisor Volk's great guy. He came up afterwards and says, "You really need to learn how to pronounce our town. It's not Shawangunk, it's Shawangunk." So anyway.
Well, that's good to know because I've been pronouncing it the other way too.
You got the Shawangunk Mountain Ridge, you got Shawangunk Country Club, but it's the town of Shawangunk. So anyway, I was at that board meeting last night, and we'll talk about the dinner that the Ulster County Regional Chamber of Commerce sponsored all their awards last night, and we'll let Jess Davis, who will be talking about that. So that
Did your boy Kyrie get a vaccine yet, or is he still at home playing? Does he have a different excuse every day, or he hasn't even given it?
Haven't heard anything from Kyrie, and I'm a big Nets fan. It's
Just
all about the money. He's eventually going to get the vaccine.
Really? Wasn't he getting taxed like $60,000 a day not playing?
He's losing. Well, that's it. He's losing a lot of money. So money talks, and you know what walks. So
They're playing pretty good without him, aren't they?
I wouldn't say that.
Other players for the amount of money they're paying him.
I would say their performance against the Bucks was very good in the opening.
They won, right?
They lost by 20 points. But
to the Bucks on opening night?
Yes.
Oh, did they? I know the Knicks won in double overtime on the night after. What was that? That opening night was Tuesday? So the Knicks played Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
I watched the end of that game. Really exciting game.
Kidding me? I was long asleep before that game.
But here's the deal. I agree with you that I think that the Nets could win the title without Kyrie, but the problem is they have Kevin Durant, James Harden. What happens if Harden gets injured?
Right now, you're
now you're in tough shape. So I'm assuming that the regular season's a regular season. Kyrie, my prediction is before Christmas he'll be back, because he'll have made his point, and then he'll.
Yeah, but then you got to.
He's already gone on record. He's not against the vaccine.
Then why hasn't he got a shot? I mean, even Cam Newton went out and got a shot. You remember he didn't want to get one? Belichick cut him. So he did his Facebook post or whatever, Instagram. I don't know what that.
His explanation, as I've read it, is that he feels for some of the people that are being forced to get the shot, or else they lose their job. So he's kind of protesting for them. But
every American has a right to choose.
Yeah.
Everybody. Let's not forget, Rick. It's going to save your life.
Yeah. No, look, it's your choice, and but I think that when push comes to shove, all these athletes love the money. That's it. So I fully expect him to be back. They'll be the favorite, but
I'm curious to know if any of these guys that haven't got their vaccines, were they getting flu shots, or were they, because when a baby's born into the world, they get around 20 or 30 vaccines. I mean, for all the stuff that we're, polio. There's how many vaccines do they get? At least 30, right? There's a bunch of them. Mumps, measles, polio, malaria.
Yeah, well,
Spanish, influenza. There's.
I will give the Nets hierarchy credit for putting their foot down.
Yes, I was. That's why I was like with Belichick. I was like, you know what? He's like, I'm going to take the rookie. You know what? Why? And Cam Newton wasn't even making that much money. He's just like, you know what? You're not going to get a shot, dude. Clean out your locker. We don't have time for this. This is a man's job. There's a bunch of adults around here,
right?
And I think it was like him and like a couple other guys that hadn't gotten it, and and the protocols that you have to go through. I mean, in the NFL, you got to get tested like before practice, after practice, all the time. So, it's quite. Yeah, you can come in, Brian.
Hey, good morning.
So. You want to go to break early and then?
Yeah, sure. Let's go to break early and then we'll bring in Brian.
All right,
Woltman.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas for Habitat for Humanity Restore. Habitat Restores are nonprofit home improvement stores and donation centers that sell new and gently used furniture, building materials, and appliances to the public at a fraction of the retail cost. The Ulster County Restore at 406 Route 28 in Kingston needs your donations. Call our hotline at 845-853-7499 to schedule your free pickup. And thanks.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? By shifting to a system that gives more patients access to strong primary care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
Screening exams for breast, lung, or colorectal cancers are necessary to detect and treat disease at its earliest, most curable stage. But you may have some concerns and questions. Answer your questions and ease your fears by visiting radiologyinfo.org. In addition to information on screening and wellness, you'll find more than 200 descriptions of radiologic exams, procedures, and treatments to help you prepare. Get informed and be prepared. Visit radiologyinfo.org. Produced by the Radiological Society of North America and the American College of Radiology.
Hi, this is Winnie from the Rosendale Seniors, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio has been brought to you by the First Savings Bank in Ulster County that still remains local to this day. Ulster Savings Bank, a community bank that's invested in local business, invested in community, invested in you. Ulster Savings Bank, your one-stop resource for everything local. Locations throughout the Hudson Valley and online at ulstersavings.com. Member FDIC.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
This is the story of Daniel, who was born 2 months early. His lungs weren't ready. His heart wasn't ready. His parents could only hope that one day he would leave the hospital healthy, and they would all live happily ever after. Daniel's is just one of the more than 500,000 stories of babies born prematurely
eliminating the sales
tax. Are you ready? Sorry.
We're back.
I was in the bathroom and I didn't realize that was a short commercial break, and then I heard the liner going. I'm like, why is that playing twice? So I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. We're making it up as we go along. So I'm very happy to have Brian Woltman. I have to say that when I was the tourism director, Brian was the chairman of the committee.
Yeah, Economic Development Committee for Ulster County, yep.
And I want to say that when he was chairman, always very supportive of tourism and what we were doing. So I appreciated that. And so let's...
I'll just jump in there. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it, or I appreciate it anyway, how much the tourism office did what they did for the county. And what a vital component that is for Ulster County. Number of years ago, a decision was made to transform to a tourist economy here in Ulster County. And the Ulster County Tourism that you led, Rick, department, they were in the vanguard, as I see it, of how to promote tourism and make it happen. And it was an overwhelming success. Still continues to this day. Many of the things we pushed, what do they call that? The self-propelled railroad, the up on
Rail Explorers.
Rail Explorers.
Yep.
That was a big item then. Of course, we have tons of golf.
Yep.
And my friend Steve is on. I still see him on his picture on the van. I saw the tourism van the other day, and I saw Steve's picture on the vehicle wrap the other day. But he was the former pro at the Lazy Swan.
Yep, Steve Simone. He's up at Columbia Country Club.
I saw him this summer. I played up there this summer.
Nice golf course.
That is a nice golf course. But anyway, my name is Brian Woltman. I'm a former county legislator, and thank you for mentioning that, Rick, and did serve as the chairman of the Economic Development Committee. I had the privilege of doing that for a year, and it was really a tremendous experience. And I'm looking to return to the legislature in a couple of weeks, hopefully get elected, and I want to try to pick up where we left off. There was a lot of good things were happening. We were just at the advent of the new era out at Tech City. Sadly, some of those things haven't gone as well in the last couple of years. I think I would have expected, with the momentum that we had started 2 years ago, that we would have this vehicle a little further down the road than what we do now. I think there have been a couple of setbacks at Tech City, but I think even though I'm running for an office here, it's the 7th legislative district, all within the city of Kingston, the 6th, 7th, and 8th wards here in Kingston. To me, though, it's quite obvious that a thriving Tech City would do nothing but help and be useful for the people who live in the district that I hope to represent again, and the people of the city of Kingston as a whole. I view IBM and that complex, I always thought of, at least in my lifetime, I just turned 59, I always thought of that area as the city of Kingston's economic engine.
Sure.
And for more than 20 years, that engine has remained idle and parked in the garage, and we really need to get that going again. And I was instrumental at the time. People might remember the farm to table, was it? 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago now, there was a problem with Central Hudson where The owner of that property was not paying the utility bills, and it really threatened the employment of a lot of people. And it was at that meeting, I had a meeting then with acting county executive Adele Ryder and her team. Many of them are still there, and people I really respect that could still work at the county with the county executive. And I made it plain that the can cannot be kicked down the road any further. It was time for the county to foreclose on these properties. And subsequent to that, and that action began when Executive Ryan came in, and I feel like I was instrumental in helping get the early momentum going for that. And it was quite obvious, as any of us know who are taxpayers, if we would not get the leniency on our particular properties if we chose not to pay our taxes for 20 years. I don't think it would work out very well for us.
I don't
think it would work out for many of the people who are listening out in the radio audience today. I think they'd be in for a rude shock as to how quickly the local government agency would come in and reclaim their property. But, again, a lot of what I'm running on a two-track campaign, so to speak. I want to speak about what my experiences was and the results we got, proven results, and I want to talk about a little bit what I'm hoping to do once elected. One of the first things I would like to do as elected, and to be my immediate priority, would be to introduce a resolution at the very beginning of the term to eliminate the sales tax on articles of clothing and footwear of $110 and less. And this would completely match and mirror what's happening over in Dutchess County. Dutchess County is moving to remove this sales tax, which the state already has. When you go into a store locally and you're buying an article of clothing or footwear for less than $110, you're only paying the county sales tax on that. The state of New York does not charge you sales tax on that. I think it's not a great place to be where we find ourselves in a situation where we're out taxing the state of New York. I think it's, I don't know that that's a recipe for success. And I look at it as it helps, it's going to help, my view, help a lot of people. It helps individuals. We talk about senior citizens on fixed income. We talk about young families with young children, and they all need to be clothed. And no one is buying an extravagant piece of clothing for less than $110. We're talking basic, everyday clothing. And if they're on a fixed senior income or a low-income family, they're paying the exact same tax rate as someone who may be doing very well, making $300,000 a year. And so if a person's going in to buy that one shirt for $30, why should they pay the same tax rate as everybody else? You can make the argument that it's the single most regressive tax that exists. And the county's in a position, and for people, I mentioned this, I did call into the radio show last week when Hugh Reynolds was on, and mentioned this, and after I hung up, Hugh Reynolds said, well, I think we need to look at the 2020 receipts and see how that did because the COVID. Well, I didn't mention it while I was on the air, but of course I had looked at that, because otherwise I wouldn't make such a proposal just off the back of an envelope, so to speak. And in 2020, the year of COVID, the year of the huge economic downturn, actually in Ulster County, the sales tax receipts were up. When the books were closed for 2020, there was an increase in sales tax receipts received by Ulster County in 2020. In 2021, we're far surpassing that. Some estimates are as high as 35% more. Executive Ryan, in his 2022 budget proposal, has budgeted an anticipated increase of sales tax of 19%. So all that leads me to believe if there was ever a time to trim the sales tax, give the people an immediate tax break, help our retailers remain on a parallel with our neighboring county, this is the time to do it. There's room in the sales tax line to trim it, to give this tax break to the people, and I think it will be appreciated. And it will. In Dutchess County, Mark Molinaro estimates that him trimming the sales tax will cost the county about $16 million. My estimates And again, these are estimates, that it would be somewhere for Ulster County, the cost would be, if it was a dollar for dollar cost, would be between $8 and $9 million a year. However, these are consumer dollars. They're they're expendable dollars in people's expense budgets when they're in their personal budgets. This money will be spent elsewhere.
What is the sale tax? What's the percentage?
Right now in Ulster County, it's 8%.
Okay. So off of
8%,
$100, they would.
Well, actually, on a $100 article of clothing, it would be half of that. The sales tax is 8%, but that's 4% for county tax and 4% New York State.
So that'd be saving
so
$4
on $100, but it's still a savings.
Oh, absolutely.
It's still a savings, and I think we have an obligation where we can to pass the savings law. And by the way, it would also apply to when you're buying, because Amazon, they all collect sales tax when it would apply to those purchases as well.
This is why it's up so much during the pandemic, because of all the mail order, correct?
I would say you could attribute it to that. You could attribute it to also, at the beginning, a year or so ago, was automobile sales.
I bought a car.
RV sales were way up. People were buying RVs in numbers that were unprecedented in the last few years. So there were a lot of big ticket items that were included in that sales tax as well.
Sure.
Not just. So what I'm looking at, I think it's an equity thing. I think also we have to do what we can, and this is a simple measure as I view it, to even help our local businesses remain competitive.
I agree with you. The timing is great.
If there was ever a time to do it, now's the time.
Plus, they're going to be rolling in cash with this $34 million from the American Relief Act.
That's true. The American Rescue Plan dollars, and I believe that money, where it's spent, I would caution that it should not lead to reoccurring expenses.
Right.
A lot of times we get this money, we go into programming and we do other things, and it's paid for all up front. However, once that funding dries up, it's got to then come out of the general funds. I think these should be that I would hope that this money, the American Rescue Plan money, be spent on so-called one-shots, whether it be a bridge that we don't necessarily have to bond for. Maybe we can not bond for a bridge and pay for it directly. That would be an infrastructure. Maybe it could be pieces of equipment for our county Department of Public Works. Maybe it could be at the jail, something. I know they're having difficulties over there with the HVAC at the county jail. Maybe it could be used for something like that. The one-offs, one-shots, not anything that would lead to reoccurring costs, which then would be passed on to our taxpayers.
By the way, this is Rick Remsnyder. We're in Kingston Community Radio. We have Brian Woltman, legislative candidate. If you feel like you want to ask Brian a question, 331-9255. I understand I've got another text that the video may not be working. I see it here, but
you see
I don't know.
on TV, it looks good.
I comb my hair.
Questions for Brian, not statements, please.
let me ask Brian this. In County Executive Ryan's proposed budget, and there won't be again a tax increase in 2022.
There will not be an increase in the tax rate.
Tax rate, okay.
There's a distinction there.
Let me ask you this. Do you support the idea of, because of they're able to do that they're going to add an additional 125 employees?
Well, let me just say this about that.
I love that.
Let me just say
who used to say that?
I don't know.
There was some politician said, let me say.
Probably. Oh, by the way, I embrace that term.
Let me say this about that.
I'll just interject real quickly here. I'm really bored and tired of people who are running for office, who put on this thing, and say, I'm not a politician. I'm sorry, but if you put on the New York Giants football uniform, you're a football player. If you're running for office and you put your button on,
you're a politician.
You're a politician. And you know what? I wear it proudly because
good for you.
You know, I am what it is, you know. But I'll say this about that. I can't talk to a lot of the specifics on the positions. I think there probably is an opportunity to look to increase the county workforce, as the county did have an attrition program. They had an early retirement incentive program a couple of years ago,
which I took. I took that.
As a municipal employee myself, I look at it though a little bit was the idea just to maybe grease the skids for some people to go out the door, because you want to have people come in at a less expensive rate and work for less money.
Sure, that happens in
But
business.
I would say public employment can be very beneficial. It can be rewarding. I love working for the city of Kingston. I take pride in it. I'll also throw in, I'm the director of purchasing for the city. I've been in that position for 26 years, and I take personal pride in knowing that I work every day, not only for the benefit of the people of Kingston, but for myself too as a taxpayer. And I want to get the best value for the city. But I will say, I would hope that the current legislature would look at that carefully, what positions, and I think we should still think of it as mission critical needs, because that's how it was talked about when we trimmed the county workforce only a mere 18 months ago. And they trimmed it down with thoughts of they needed to be. They didn't use this terminology, but I do. I was a NASA buff, and I love the term mission critical. And I think any job that's created, it needs to be part of the overall. It needs to be critical to the mission of Ulster County, best serving the taxpayers. So I would think there's probably room, certainly, to increase the employment and restore positions, but I think you also have to be very careful as to why they were trimmed in the first place.
Right, yeah, which I'm sure my feeling is, and I've heard this from a lot of people, that if they were so critical, why did they feel like they could eliminate them in the first place? But anyway,
that's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's exactly how I feel.
So I hope, and I agree with you, I hope that the legislature takes a good look at that. But having been in county government for 15 years and looking at how the legislature reviews the budget, I haven't seen a lot of changes from that proposed budget to what is eventually approved by the legislature. So maybe this year will be different.
Maybe this year will be different. But I will say this, I'm going to talk a little bit about my record as a legislator.
Let's do that, absolutely.
And it was directly related to the budget. Back in 2018, when Executive Hine at the time proposed the 2019 budget, included in that budget was a fee that only the city of Kingston paid to Ulster County, and that was for 911 communications, and when it had to do with fire services. The city of Kingston was the only local government in the entire county that paid the county anything to avail themselves of these services. Every other township, fire district didn't pay the county anything. And the amount was $75,000 a year. And to me, that was a pretty obvious flaw in the county budget. I think expenses like that should be shared across. If you need to collect revenue from any town for an expense like that, it should be collected in an equitable manner from all the towns. So as a legislator, I put in a budget amendment, which I'm delighted to say was passed unanimously. And of course, the makeup of the legislature is that there's only 3 legislators from the city of Kingston. The remaining 20 are from outside the city of Kingston. So the fact that 20 legislators from outside the city of Kingston also saw the sense in this to eliminate this fee that only the city of Kingston was paying, I was very happy and thrilled that we were able to get that passed. And the way we did it was we sunsetted it over 3 years. We reduced it by $25,000 over 3 years till eventually it reached zero. And the city of Kingston now, I'm proud to say, for the second year, and this is the second city of Kingston budget that they're looking to pass. They had the budget for 2020, and now the one for 2021 and 2022. That the city of Kingston will not be paying this fee to the county, just like every other township or local village or local fire district in the entire county. So there's one way of looking at a budget, seeing an item in there and knowing that it needs to be changed. It does take due diligence. I think sometimes the legislature hires their own accounting firm to come in and do an analysis of the budget, and that's my view, a valuable expense, and we get a good result from that. But you have to take something from that result. You have to use it, and I will also say that I have a lot of faith in Bert Golnick and the finance department and to put together the budget. And so I won't say that. I will definitely say that the county budgets usually are pretty solid, at least in my experience, when they're presented to the legislature. But there are areas where they do need to be. You need to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. And I would hope that the legislators that we have there now will do so and find similar, if there's similar areas that need to be corrected, that can be. And the fact that was passed unanimously by legislators, I think it was something that was quite obvious, a change that needed to be made. And by the way, that was in the county budget for at least 20 plus years. The city of Kingston was paying $75,000 a year. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you think about it, the average city employee, if you go to the city's budget line, the average city expense for a city employee is about $75,000 a year. So basically, the city of Kingston now can save enough money that they're able to pay one of their employees for an entire year.
Great.
With benefits. So.
This is Rick Remsnyder with Brian Woltman, legislative candidate of the city of Kingston. You know, I know how hard you worked and all the legislators worked because particularly around budget time, each department came in to the respective committees and presented our proposed budget to the legislators. And line by line, you guys would go over it, which was a fair process. There was a lot of give and take on the budgets, and I have to say the legislature was, because our numbers in tourism were increased each year since 2009, that they were pretty supportive. But you guys do work hard to review the taxpayers' money, and I respect the job you did. Was it always easy for me to answer some, because I'm looking for more money,
I expect not, Rick.
I know, but you guys put in a lot of time, and talk about what it's like to be a legislator, and particularly when you're heading an important committee like you did.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, you have to have empathy for the people that are coming before you, and you have to understand what their point of view is. And I'll say this, how in my day job as director of purchasing for the city of Kingston, I am occasionally on the side of the departments coming in to speak to our elected officials. Mm-hmm. So I know and I can empathize what it's like for them to come, for anyone from people from the departments to come before the committee. I know the preparation that's needed to prepare themselves to come to the committee and be prepared to answer questions that some of you might not even expect to be asked, and to have those answers readily available. So as chairman of the legislature, I had to be empathetic of that and understand what these people, how the county employees, when they're coming to us, what the work that they had to do, prep work that they had to do to be ready for us. But one thing as a committee chair, I found it's very important to balance the need of all legislators, whether, particularly during budget time, whether they are members of the committee or not, to have the opportunity to have their questions answered. Because you'll find during budget season in the county legislature that the legislators who aren't necessarily on the oversight committee for the particular department, during budget season, you'll see other legislators coming in still because they want to be there in person, part and parcel, and understand what the departments are bringing to them.
Sure.
And I think you balance it with the word value. I think sitting there as a chairman of economic development, when the tourism particularly would come in, I always thought, Rick, that you presented not only what you were proposed to do, but what the value of it would be to the county government and the residents of Ulster County and the businesses of Ulster County, and help them promote them. And to me, and it's also important to let the department representatives fully explain themselves and give them every best chance to do so. And while also, maybe if you had a legislator that wanted to grandstand a little bit, hit the gavel and let's bring this meeting back to order. So that's kind of that's the approach I took as chairman.
Well, I always enjoyed the interaction with the legislators, and like I said, they're always very supportive. Talk about when you go door to door, as you have been campaigning. What are on people's minds, and what are you telling them?
Public safety is first and foremost on people's minds. People are very concerned about, and particularly locally in Kingston, the crime conditions that we have in Kingston, how there have been as well reported and documented. Although thank God it seems to have there's been a pause to it. There was a lot of violent behavior in the city of Kingston. Some of it well chronicled now, as a lot of it's going to trial as a result. And people are concerned with that. People are concerned about whether they feel safe in their homes. Again, some of these things aren't necessarily items that fall within the purview of a county legislator. A lot of them are concerns that would have more maybe to do with their local government or police. Certainly, though, the Ulster County has a sheriff's department, of which my son is a sheriff's deputy, and I'm delighted to say I'm very proud of him and the role and the service that he offers to the residents here in Kingston. But that's a concern. COVID is still a concern. The health, the people I have noticed are a little hesitant to answer their doors.
Yeah, I could understand.
Somehow I try to, as best as I can, have contactless campaigning and door-to-door, and respect the boundaries that people want to have these days. And I certainly understand that. It's been a traumatic 19 or 20 months that we've had with this pandemic, I should say, and people, there are scars, whether they be emotional scars or just physical scars. I've had one very good friend of mine, a constituent, he was very sick with COVID and had a terrible ordeal with it. Thank God he's healthy now. This was a little over a year ago. And it's just, so you have to be understanding of that. The economy is also of concern. I think what we have to do in Ulster County, we need to have a two-pronged approach. We need to encourage businesses. I think it's time and it's overdue that the county's Economic Development Office and the Ulster County Industrial Development Agency, IDA, they have to start working in synchronization. The sputtering approach that we have now, whether back and forth, and once he said, she said, so to speak, and who's going to work with who and what, it's not helpful. We need to have one flowing economic development approach here in Ulster County, and I look at the IDA as it can be a very, very valuable tool that we have. The tools that they have at their disposal are tremendous, as far as maybe granting pilots for companies that are going to bring in authentic jobs, authentic long-term jobs, well-paying jobs that people can actually support a family on. The other side of that, though, we have to have the people trained to fill these jobs. And we have to have much more. You'll hear Tony Marmo speaking, Norman Staffing. I listen to him, and I haven't talked to him personally about it, but I hear him all the time. They don't have sometimes the people to fill the positions that are available. That's something that needs to be addressed.
There's no question.
And I think that, and I think there's a role for SUNY Ulster to play in that. and maybe even a coordination with BOCES, maybe a BOCES program for adults. I don't know, but there needs to be something. Again, I know the county has a lot on its plate, but that's something that we should look at. I will also say a number of years ago on Broadway in Kingston, the county opened the Restorative Justice Center in Kingston. And I think we have to ensure that the programming there is fully funded. And why do I say that? I say that as a friend of law enforcement. I say that as a father of a son who's in law enforcement. We have to divert and these are all programs that are aimed at our young, I'm going to call them children or young adolescents who make a mistake. There are mistakes made because they don't have. I know it was the case when I was young. I didn't always use the best judgment.
Yeah.
Okay, and sometimes I don't want a child's lack of judgment to start them on the road to a criminal history. If they can be diverted at the youngest ages, that helps everyone. It helps, in particular, it helps that child and and their family. And I was a strong supporter of that Restorative Justice Center being opened. I think it's critical that we divert these children at the youngest age possible, and we get to them and help them and offer them opportunities and alternatives, and help them see that there's alternatives in their lives that they can that they can choose to make their lives better. And I think fully funding the programming at the Restorative Justice Center will go a long, long way. And I say that as an avid supporter of our law enforcement community. And I think the thoughtful people in our law enforcement community who I know very well agree with me on this, that's the time to get. My brother, Harry, was a school resource officer at Kingston High School, and prior to that, the Bailey School. And he saw that very often. The earlier you get to these young people and divert them away from mistakes that they made, and don't over penalize them for a mistake. Don't get them in that. Once they get in that criminal justice system, it's usually very hard to extricate themselves, and they get a record, and it's not helpful for them for their long-term future. So that's one of the other things I'll certainly be advocating for as a legislator. But Rick, I can't thank you enough for having me into this morning. It's so quickly how our time goes, and it's good to see you again. 2022, I don't care, hell or high water, you and I are going to get out and play some golf.
Yeah, we're going to play some
golf. We
golf.
talk about it every year, but we have to make that change. But I do thank you very much for having me. And I would just ask the voters, early voting begins tomorrow. I would certainly appreciate your vote. If you vote for me and if I'm elected, you're going to get a person who works 65 to 80 hours a week on top of my day job on the legislative business. And you'll have a tireless advocate for you here in the city of Kingston. So.
Well, it's great seeing you, Brian. Good luck. You got a couple of weeks. I'm sure you'll be going right down to the wire. Yep. And even though you're right, the early voting starts tomorrow, so people
and we're actually literally 12 days away from election day.
Yeah. So Midtown Neighborhood Center. What's it called now? Is it
Andy Murphy?
The
legendary Andy Murphy.
Yes.
Yep. So
it's always going to be the Midtown Neighborhood Center to me, but yes, it is called the Andy Murphy Center.
But check the website, the Board of Elections. You'll see there's I believe there's 6 sites throughout the county, but in the city of Kingston, go right down Broadway, and it's yes, we're getting out next year to play some golf, and good luck, Brian, and appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much. Good night,
why don't we
everybody.
take a break and we'll come back with birthdays and Steve Peruso.
You got it.
Okay.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the Y. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
This is the story of Daniel, who was born 2 months early. His lungs weren't ready. His heart wasn't ready. His parents could only hope that one day he would leave the hospital healthy, and they would all live happily ever after. Daniel's is just one of the more than 500,000 stories of babies born prematurely last year. You can help the March of Dimes stop premature birth and bring more babies home healthy. Learn how at marchofdimes.com. Working together for stronger, healthier babies.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
Hi, I'm Ruth Quick from town of Ulster. I support Kingston Community Radio, and you should too.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Brian, on the way. All right, I'm glad I went out there because it looks like he texted me, and he was knocking on the wrong door.
Oh, okay.
He's only been here like 5 times.
Well, we're going to have...
There's so many birthdays anyway, Steve, you're right on time, because there's like 7 or 8 birthdays just today alone. So.
We're very happy to have Steve here, not only to talk about his candidacy, but I'm going to have him help read some of these birthdays, because we got like 7 of them.
I'd love to.
This is Steve Peruso, by the way. Rick Remsnyder. And,
morning, Rick. Good morning, Larry.
So let me read 4 here, and then I'm going to have Steve read the other 3 because we have 7 birthdays for October 22nd. So happy birthday to Robin Riddy from your old co-workers at Jamesway, Diane and Vonda. Old co-workers. Does that mean they've been together a long time, or they're just old?
You could interpret it either way.
Yeah, or both.
Go ahead. Let's alternate. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay, so on today we're celebrating October 22nd to Marie DeCaro, and it's from her friends at People's Place. We hope you enjoy your special day.
Great. We have happy 33rd anniversary to Cheryl and Tom Van Valkenburg from your friends and family.
And we want to wish a happy birthday to Christina Picard, also from her friends at People's Place. Same thing. We hope you enjoy your special day.
Today again, please wish a happy birthday to Jessica Granger from your friends and family and daughter Elizabeth.
So I don't know if this is right or not. This is to happy birthday, Gwen Conklin, also from friends at People's Place. We hope you enjoy your special day.
People's Place is on top of things.
But 3 people all having birthdays today there.
That's unreal. And then we have, please wish Len Waters happy 80-plus birthday.
Nice.
From the Happy Hoofers, the 8 a.m. YMCA exercise and walking group they used to run. But we can all do 25 push-ups. Thanks,
I'm glad
Frank.
you got that hoofers right.
Yeah, we got to be careful of that. And, by the way, the winner is Len Waters. He'd be the birthday winner for the 22nd. Courtesy gets a famous cow pie courtesy of Boyce Dairy Milk House and Kingston Community Radio. So that was today. We also have some for tomorrow, and Boy, I tell you,
Well, can you start off with me? My birthday's tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Happy
You should
birthday,
have put it in,
Steve.
man. You could have won a cake.
You were going to give
We'll do it
Steve a
next
few
year.
more.
You'll be
We're
on-
cutting into his campaign time here.
I know.
Happy 21st birthday to Jordan Corvin with love from Grandma, Grandpa, Mom and Dad, and Tyler.
And happy birthday to Molly Berg from her friends at People's Place.
Again.
We hope you enjoy your special day.
I didn't stack these for you to get all the People's Place, but Saturday, October 23rd, please wish a happy birthday to Carol Ayers from your friends at the Rosendale Seniors.
Okay, we got a different one. We have a happy birthday to Seth. Hope I'm saying this right, Tendra. And it is from his wife Megan and his children, Landon, Alana, and Lucas. So happy birthday to Seth.
All right, great. And the birthday winner for the famous cow pie for Saturday, unfortunately, is not Steve Peruso. He's going to have to go out and buy it himself. Is Molly Berg, courtesy of the Boyce Dairy Milk House and Kingston Community Radio. And we only have one on Sunday, so I think I can handle this. October 24th, please wish a happy birthday to Kevin Villette. I hope I have that right. From your friends and family and daughter Missy. And Kevin is, since the only birthday is getting the cow pie, so congratulations. And wow, what a lot of birthdays. This is fantastic.
Good. Happy birthday to all of them.
So how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Feeling optimistic. I'm out there talking to a lot of people, walking the neighborhood as much as I can, between working, refereeing. It's a lot, but, I have to it's a firm commitment to this. And I'm getting great responses, even from people. I've talked to people who have my opponent's signs on their lawn, and a couple have taken them down after talking to me.
Oh, that's good.
And a couple have told me, they put it there because she asked them to, but it didn't mean that they had their vote. And after hearing some of the things, especially that my connection with the area for such a long time seemed to be important. The importance of infrastructure seems to be stacking up. That a lot of my strengths are a lot of my opponent's weaknesses. And, starting off with the fact that her claim to fame is that she's lived in Ulster County for 30 years. Well, that's great. Ulster County is where she lived in Esopus, Woodstock, other places. I've lived in this ward alone for over 30 years. So I think the people are listening to that. I think they know that I'm concerned with their needs, which are infrastructure, safer streets, and I think it's resonating with them, and they seem to be very receptive. I'm getting great feedback. So it is definitely worth putting in the time, walking and talking to people. I think it's the most important thing. You can put up signs, you can send flyers, nothing reaches the people the way talking to them personally. Seeing them face to face, letting them read your eyes, read your words. I think they know where I'm coming from. So it's, like I said, it's been very, very positive.
Well, I went to Terry's Deli, one of my favorite places, last night to get a sandwich, and I saw a number of your signs there, so you're doing well. What's describe the circumference of the ward again?
Okay, so it goes, it's actually good on a couple of areas because I have a drop-dead stop area. Somebody in the middle of the city has crazy serpentining going back and forth with the streets, half streets here, half streets there. I'm fortunate enough, on the west end, I have Hurley Avenue. On the southern end, I have Hurley Avenue and Lucas to its end, and then it does jut up through Miller's Lane and up through there a little bit, and then it gets a little complicated going down through Main Street and Grandview and some of those, Lounsbury, half of it, but then it goes down a very small piece of Washington Avenue from Lucas down to the end of Washington Avenue where the city line is. So it's defined. It took some getting used to reading the ward map, but now that I've got it, it's easier to understand.
Brian Woltman was in, just, you saw him on the way out. He says one of the things that, it must be a little more difficult campaigning during, even though we're coming out of COVID, knock on wood. What has been the response when you go door to door?
Funny you should ask that. When I first decided to do this, and it's, this is completely new to me, Rick. Everything that I do is the first time. So when I had to get petitions, that all changed because you had to get less petitions than normal, for years past. But I got a lot of people just not even opening their door, opening a crack and say no, because signing the petition was actually something physical.
Right.
Touching the pen, touching the paper. So that was hard, but it was made easier because of the lessening of the signatures needed for the petitions. But I did see a lot of fear in people. Now, since I'm going out walking, which is only not even 6 months later, completely different. I think the people are more at ease. I think they are feeling better about the direction we're going. People are opening their doors. And like I said, it's not physical. The first thing I do after ringing the bell or knocking on the door is I step back to a step or to a safer distance in case people, but what I'm finding is with men, they're shaking my hand, thanking me for coming, and they're extending their hand before me because you don't know. I don't want to extend mine because you don't know what people are going to do.
Sure.
Some do fist bump, but many are shaking my hand, thanking me for coming, and talking to them personally, and that's important. So in that regard, I think that's a positive thing for all of us.
Good. Well, I ran for office one time in the village of New Paltz, and I know what for a trustee position, I lost, but it was quite an experience. And I know the time and dedication. I mean, you're working for the county. What's your hours? Like 8 to 4 or 6?
No, it's 7 to 3 right now. That's winter hours.
Okay. So then after that, you got to think about going out and beating the bushes. It must be a long day.
And I'm a high school referee, but I've also decided that if I win, hopefully, that I will make this my first priority. Of course, work is my first priority, but like I said, it's 7 to 3. It won't interfere with meetings. And people that have asked me that know I referee, that know I'm a busy person, have asked me, are you going to have time for this? This will be, besides my job, which I have to do those hours, this will be number one. My reffing will be put on the back burner. Actually, with some of the restrictions I'm hearing about already for basketball, I may opt out of basketball this year. I opted out last year because, beyond belief to me, I'm vaccinated. I hope that the players are all vaccinated, but they're already talking about wearing masks. That means the players running up and down an indoor court in a hot gym with masks on. The referees, masks on. The fans, masks on. If it was up to me, if you're vaccinated and these booster shots are going, the players are vaccinated, they don't have to wear masks. The referees that's just my opinion.
Right, sure.
I don't think it's going there. So it may be easier for me to not do it and concentrate solely on this endeavor that I'm taking on.
What level are you, do you usually ref? What do you do?
I'm at the top of the level.
Varsity and JV?
Varsity, mostly varsity, especially for, not to toot my own horn, I've been to states in softball, and I've also been highly regarded with basketball. Field hockey is kind of new to all of us. Guys never played it as kids, but I've done it a long time and still getting up to that point with that. I do postseason in all of them. Like I said, I've been to the states in softball. And the rewarding part of that is the coaches rate you. And they can be tough. But they also know that even if you do a bad job on a given night, don't crucify you with the rating because you may want that better official come postseason. So it's a nice reward that the coaches are noticing the job you're doing.
It's a tough job. I'll make it real quick. For 5 or 6 years, I coached CYO basketball in the city of Newburgh. my son lived down there, and so we had St. Joseph Parish, and so we had a pretty good team. So we were going back and forth, and I never really ever said anything to the officials, but one of my players goes up and gets hammered, and so the official is going by, and I said to the official, "Hey, ref, I could hear that foul," and without missing a beat, he says, "Coach, I don't referee by sound." I said, "You got me on that one."
Yeah, you know, I've been doing basketball and softball for years, and you can tell, and coaches can tell, the guys that are mailing it in and the guys that care. And, you know, you can make a bad call. Everybody does. You know, coaches make mistakes, players make mistakes.
Absolutely.
The thing I find is if you make a bad call, own it. And also, if you make that bad call, be in the right position.
Right.
You know, if you're there, if you hustle to the spot where you should be and you blow the call, you blew the call. But if it's a lack of hustle and you blow the call, the coach has got every right to question, how can you call that from there? That's not where you should be.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite lines to a coach that questions something, and listen, people that know me know how bad I was when I played. I was competitive. I was a hothead. And I argued with umpires, and I think that's helped me throughout my officiating career because I'm a little more tolerant. But I like saying to coaches, when they question something, I say, "Coach, I'm sure that's the way you feel and the way you saw it. However, I was a lot closer, so we're going to go with my call."
Right, yeah.
And sometimes you get a laugh out of them. Sometimes you get more. And then the next thing you got to say is, "Listen, Coach, I know you want to continue to coach this game and see this game, so let's just end it right here, so that we don't have to go to the next coach."
Right.
And it usually works.
Yeah. So let's get back to the campaign. I know the last time you were here, obviously, and Brian Woltman, the legislature candidate in the city of Kingston, was saying the number one concern was safety in the city of Kingston. Is that still what you're hearing, and what would you like to do about it?
Actually, no, it's not number one. What I'm hearing in talk, and since we've met last, I've talked to a lot of people. And in my ward, now you got to remember, Brian's area is a lot wider.
Right.
So just in Ward 1, what I'm hearing the most by far is infrastructure problems. Especially, for example, there's some local gentlemen, I'll just say there's people that want to put a housing development up off of Lucas Avenue on Bluestone Court. This is going to be a nightmare for everybody involved in that area. As a previous owner of a business, a restaurant on the corner of Washington and Lucas, I can attest to the problems of infrastructure and storm water. I lost a whole year of business to the digging up the streets there. Putting in 95 units off of Bluestone Court, a tiny little road off of Lucas Avenue, not only is it a terrible problem with logistics of going in and out of there, not only going in, egressing and entering off of Bluestone, which is a tiny little road, now they're coming out onto Lucas, 95 units, you got to multiply it probably by 2 cars for everyone. It's going to be a nightmare. Now add all the storm drains and excess water that is now just leaching into the ground. Now it will be funneled directly into existing storm drains, which they just can't handle what's there now. So this is not a good idea. Everybody I've talked to knows in Ward 1, most of the people are below that. They're to the north end of this new complex, and it's all downhill right to Washington Avenue. So this is not a good thing.
Where in the approval process is it right now?
That I'm not sure of.
Okay.
I can't. It's hard for me at this point, not being in office, to get any answers. I know it's in the early stages. I'm getting mixed things. There is a gentleman that lives on Bluestone Court who I visited, and I told him I will revisit it. I believe he goes to the meetings. I'm going to get an update from him this weekend and hopefully have some more information on that. But it's a terrible idea to do this. Terrible.
This is Rick Remsnyder with Steve Peruso, candidate for alderman in Ward 1. I've known Steve for a long time, and I'm wishing you all the luck in the world.
Appreciate that, Rick.
If anybody wants to call in when we get Lawrence back in the studio, it'll be 331-9255. So what else? What is?
All right, first of all, I'd like to just reiterate what you just said. I'd love to have a caller come in. I ask the people all the time, what are your concerns?
Sure.
Like I said, I'm getting infrastructure. You know, also, I think what you said about safer, that's one of my big goals. But I think it depends on the area of Kingston and the ward you're in. What the most important things are. And to me, Safer Kingston, taking it a little further, is I'd like to see a lot more communication between the police and the people. Good, calm communication. Not rise up Kingston screaming, screw the cops, not, this and that. Just talk. What do you want? A nice give and take between the people and the cops. And like I said, every ward is going to be a little different, the way it's policed, the way it's handled, and I'd like to see a lot more of that.
Well, that's good. A lot of respect for law enforcement. It's a
Absolutely.
tough job. Right now, it's really a tough job, and people need to have a give and take, as you say.
Yeah, and we've lost a couple of, I think more than a couple of good police. I've actually talked to a gentleman in my ward, 5 years on the force, a young guy who left because he didn't like the way the future of his job was going to be as a police officer.
Sure.
And this was a great young man looking to make a difference. And when he sees the way the courts and the DA's office, whatever, are handling this, when he goes through the trouble, puts his life on the line to arrest somebody, then he sees that same person doing it again, or just even on the streets when he shouldn't be. I just read in the Freeman today, and I just was a little taken back by the two people that killed the young girl, the 12-year-old girl, were giving plea deals. I don't understand it. I really don't. The guy, the one gentleman, I shouldn't say gentleman, the one murderer, got a deal of 13 years for killing a 12-year-old girl. He got a year for every one of this poor girl's years of her life that she'll never get to enjoy the rest of. It's just great police work, and then to make a deal with this guy, I don't get it. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, sure. Let me ask you this. Is Deed Stadium in your ward?
It is. Very important part of my ward. There in Kinderland. That was two of the first things that I thought of when I realized I was running and that they're in my ward. Deed Stadium has been a big part of my life. I played baseball there when it was the old stadium.
I walk there, try to walk there every week. I was there yesterday. I'm assuming you must support this concept of finally getting Deed Stadium renovated.
I am completely in favor of the renovation. What I would like to question, if gotten in, is the expense, and I'd like to see the workload, the material. When this was done was in the middle of pandemic, when this was drawn up, when material prices, I believe, were at their highest. I'm wondering if it could be cut down a little bit. And so I like every 90% of the ideas. I'm not so sure of if we need a hole in the middle of the grandstands for the players to come through. I mean, this isn't Clemson University, where they come down the ramp and stuff. Some of the things I'd like to look at itemized. I know we need a new turf. I reffed on it the other night. I did a field hockey semifinal game. The turf is horrible.
It's got to be 12 or 13 years old at this point.
It's funny. My partner and I were trying to figure out just how old it was, and we think it's the second one.
Yeah.
I believe, right? Do you know if it's the second or third? I believe it's the second.
It may be the second, and if it wasn't for Bruderhoff, it'd probably be...
Right, exactly. It'd be
the original will be there.
It'd be the original.
Yeah.
And the original was even worse because it was a black top underneath it. But it needs to be done. The parking lot is horrible. The lighting is horrible on the field and around it. The lighting to referee a game there... Everybody. This was a night game the other night, 6:30, and everybody, the players, the coaches, the referees, can't see the ball. You just can't see the ball, and that's pretty much an important part of refereeing.
Which sport was that?
This was field hockey.
Yeah.
Kingston against Red Hook.
Well, there's a reason that Deed Stadium in the city of Kingston lost all the playoff football games and all the playoffs because of the substandard conditions, way behind time. Hopefully, I agree with you. I don't know if they need to spend $13 million and put a.
I believe it's high. I believe it's up to $18 million.
Oh, okay. So
which includes the pool and the parking lot and everything, and it doesn't need up. And also, you mentioned Forsyth Park, and the gentleman over there, and you might know his name. I can't remember. Runs the zoo. Great job. Does a great job. What I'd like to see, one of my proposals will be to try to get a dog park in Forsyth Park. We have one down at Kingston Point, at the other end of town. I don't see any reason why we can't build one in Forsyth Park. There's a room there.
Great idea. I saw a lot of people just walking their animals when I was walking there yesterday.
I walked my dog through. I start at Deed Stadium, walk up through Forsyth Park, up through the by Colonial Little League Field, where I played Little League, and I see people walking their dogs all the time. I think a dog park would be tremendous. And not only walking your dog. My wife takes my dog down to the Kingston Point a lot, and the interaction that they have with other dogs rather than just walking, it's great. I think, and I'm getting good feedback on that also.
Well, it's very important for the economic development of the city of Kingston because, as you well know, Steve, with all these playoff games and everything that have been lost, a lot of revenue for the local restaurants, the accommodations, people coming from all over the state.
Absolutely.
They're now going to Middletown or going to Goshen.
Spack and Kill just built a turf field. Sure. They're all doing it. On the other side of the river, half the fields are turf. Rondout has one now.
Yep, it's a nice field, very
and
nice.
Like you said, it's kind of that old school mentality that Kingston seems to have had in many things. They think that it's good right now. It's going to be that way forever. Did they not think that eventually other schools and districts were going to build these state-of-the-art facilities? I mean, Monroe Woodbury is the cream of the crop. I mean, it's just extraordinary. And I know their financial district is a little maybe stronger, but still, you can't just have same old and expect people to keep coming. And we've lost everything. And we'll never get all those state meets back. We won't.
No, well,
but it'd be nice to get some of them.
Unfortunately, John Ford passed away. He was a person that really made sure that things got done at stadium, all those games, because no matter what you say, the site is very centralized. I mean, some of these places, these schools are going to find out that going to Middletown's not too bad.
Binghamton, how about Binghamton? A lot is held up in Binghamton. Yep. And you're right. I do Section 9 sports, and we are centrally located. I'm in the middle, going to Aniora, Saugerties, New Paltz, Ellenville. I'm in the middle of all of those. And Kingston would benefit from that location if they had the facility to offer it. So that is getting back to your original question. Forsyth Park and Deed Stadium are huge things in my ward.
Well, we only have a couple more minutes, Steve. Let's remind people that early voting starts tomorrow.
Yes,
so
it does.
Talk about locally where people, if they want to vote.
Ward 1 is Edson School. And you make sure, listen, if you don't vote for me, whoever you vote for, get out and vote. It's your right. It's your American right to vote. Don't disregard it. Your vote matters, especially on a local election of wards, legislators. Every vote counts. These elections will come down to a few votes. I really feel my election in my ward is going to be very close. It's the numbers. There's a lot of Democrats. I want to repeat. I should have said this. I am non-enrolled. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. But I want to see some balance. We need to get more non-Democrats in because they're just rubber stamping everything. And I also would like to add a little politicking that I feel that's my advantage. What we have now in the Common Council are a lot of similar people, all thinking the same, all coming from the same kind of background. I'm blue collar. I've been in a restaurant in this ward. I've been in construction. I know infrastructure. I know retail. I know what the businesses need, the people need. All those things are what my opponent does not have. We don't need another social worker. We need somebody with a pulse of the people. And
well, I'll say this, Steve. If you get elected, I might have to come down to a couple of common council meetings because I know they'll be a little more lively.
It's going to get a little more exciting for sure. But I will say, though, I have talked to a couple of the existing common council members who are actually hoping that I win. And they look forward to, what they're saying is they look forward to working with me and crossing the party lines and working together for a better Kingston, which is important to me.
Well, that's
Made
what
me feel good.
Well, that's what it's all about. I respect you for taking the time and effort to get out there and campaigning. And like I said, I wish you luck. And maybe in January we'll be talking about your first day at office. So good luck.
I would love that. And I hope to come back as an alderman. Thanks, Rick, for having me. And Larry, thank you for always reaching out, buddy, and making this available.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break now. We're going to bring Jess Davis from the Ulster County Regional Chamber of Commerce.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Grammer. Wounded Warrior Project supports injured veterans by connecting them with fellow warriors, by serving them through mental health and wellness programs, and by empowering them to live on their own terms. No one should face a battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
To battle is to fight, to struggle, to overcome, and ultimately for the Marine Corps, it means to win. There is no alternative. It's not just a statement of intent. It's a promise to our nation. A promise kept for more than 2 centuries. A promise of the Marines.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Jared Mans from the Spring Lake Fire Department, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Well,
we're back. Wow, Jess, this is great, man. I guess I don't need to go to the diner after the show, huh, Rick?
Good morning.
We have Ms. Jess Davis, better known as AKA Jess Delicious, bringing me breakfast. And man, you're too much. How are you?
How are you, Rick?
I'm great. It's going to be hard for me to talk and eat, but that's okay.
We'll take turns today.
So, anyway, thank you of all from the Stadium Diner. I know I'm hard to please, aren't I, with all my requirements? Yeah, go ahead. Who cares?
Kingston community about you?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So Rick is one fussy eater. I came in. Now he's fussy in weird ways. I came in last month and he had gas station breakfast. And I said, Rick, you can't be eating gas station breakfast when you're on the air with Jess Delicious. So I decided to bring breakfast, and he sent me a whole list of what he doesn't eat. And it's things like bacon and sausage, and go light on the butter, and no onions in my food. So I'll get to, before the next couple of months, I'll really get to know your eating patterns.
Well, yeah, so I appreciate that, and you've done a really nice job here, a variety of stuff.
It's Diner.
Very nice.
Can't go wrong when you're in Uptown Kingston, right?
And fruit and all kinds of stuff. So, well, let's talk about, first of all, I know that last night you had a huge event, the Ulster County Regional Chamber at Diamond Mills. And the one thing I wanted to, talk about your turnout, the event, and how it was.
So I'm still coming off the high. I always talk to Ward about this after events because he gets the same kind of thing when we have these really exciting events. It's you come home at the end of the night and it's like you can't sleep because you just have so much excitement still in your body. It was great. It was just so good to see people. It was a beautiful night, so we got to spend a lot of time outside on the terrace. And then we brought it back inside. Diamond Mills is always a wonderful host.
What's the name of the event again?
It's the 2021 Ulster County Business Recognition Awards.
There we go.
And it was really special this year. The Len Kane Heart of Ulster County Award was, the honoree was Tommy Keegan, posthumously, which is such a weird word to say. But it was really special. We had Paula Mitchell do it a little bit differently this year. She came in and she videoed the honorees and people talking about the honorees. So there was video presentations, and it really brought us inside the businesses and the organizations, and it was a really neat way to honor these individuals.
Paula does a great job.
She does, and she's been a busy lady. She was all over the place because veterans event, God and Country, is this weekend. So Frank Guido does a whole lot for them. So there was an event happening last night at Little Italy where he served all these veterans, World War II veterans, a beautiful dinner like he does every year on him. So, it was a wonderful night. And Pat Ryan, our county executive, and our board chair, they pulled a little stunt on Ward. I don't know if you've heard, but
I have the press release right here.
Yeah.
So, and kudos, I know, is a big surprise. Ulster County Regional Chamber of Commerce was named the Chamber of the Year by the Business Council of New York State, which is a huge honor, well-deserved. I can't say enough about how great Ward Todd, the president of the Chamber, is. Worked with him for too many years. And was he caught by surprise?
Yeah, well, he was. I don't think he had any idea when or what was happening, but he did catch Allison and I. We made a slideshow sort of highlighting some of the things that we've done in the last year and a half. And he came in the office the other day and he looked at us and we clicked off on the computer and he said, "What are you guys working on?" And he said, "Are you working on something for the dinner?" And at the same time we looked at him and Allison said yes and I said no. So we were like guilty on the spot. He didn't choose very good liars to work at the chamber, which is a good thing. But I just brushed it off and said, "We're working on an idea we have, and don't ask questions." But I don't think that he had any idea that that our board wanted this and that the county executive was going to deliver a special certificate to him, and it's so deserved. He would have never let us do this for him. So we had to get the government involved.
Right, which is usually not a great idea, but we'll let it slide this time. But Ward, being the person that he is, certainly well-deserved, and I heard he got a standing ovation, so that was nice. And I'm sure there was not a dry eye in the house with Tommy Keegan getting the Len Kane Award, passed away, and from Keegan Ailes, to me, was still a young man.
Yes.
And what was the response to that award?
It was really special. Of course, it was a tearjerker, and his dad was there, which was really special, and Lisa and his ex-wife Christy, and they're all just so supportive to each other. I think it's so special to see from the outside how they're sort of coping with the loss. But it always amazes me how many lives that Tommy Keegan touched in so many ways. And anytime that we talk about him, it's a huge reminder of how many people in this community Tommy touched their life, and so deserving of the award, so deserving. Just wish that he was still here to be with us last night, you know?
Sure. Yeah, I can vouch for that. In past shows we talked about, I always kidded Tommy that he starred in the Ulster County video about the craft beverage business because he was such a character. And we actually unveiled the video when Mike Hine was still the county executive at Keegan Ales, and we got a really good response. Excuse me. I'm sorry that I'm trying to eat and talk at the same time. But I'm not going to let this food get cold. But Stadium Diner, always the best.
They're so good.
So I'm hoping to have the owner of Moonburger in when things die down there a little bit, but he's agreed to come on the show. But I have to say that the response for that business, who people may not know of it, basically has been overwhelming.
To say the least.
And I know that you were one of the first people to test the food there. So talk about Moonburger and what was your feeling with the new business, how it's going?
So I've been there twice now. I did get to be invited to the Friends and Family, which was sort of the practice. And I just want to say Jeremy Robinson-Leon is the owner there. And he is just an incredible person, so kind, so caring, and I believe that he only has success ahead of him because of who he is and his values.
And I've seen him. I didn't stop. I have a little less patience than you and my girlfriend, Tamara Murray, who don't think it's unusual to wait in line for an hour. But I did see Jeremy, as I drove by, actually thanking people for their patience as they waited for their order in the car,
with
correct?
A smile on his tired face. And so the soft opening, I'll just say the food was incredible. My dad didn't even realize it wasn't beef. And his whole concept is it's impossible meat. And so it's either well received or people are like, I want my beef. So it's a very daring thing that he's done. And the burgers are incredible. The cheese sauce, he has this local cheddar cheese dipping sauce. Amazing. Spicy fries, I did not try them. And an oat milk shake, which I am very much about skipping the dairy. It just does better with my body. So I was really excited about that. But what I've seen is, so the very first day of his opening, on Ulster Eateries United, there was so much talk. The line is this long, and I live right down the way from it. So I said, I'm too nosy to be sitting in the house. I'm going to get in this line. And I hopped on the phone with my friend, and she said, what do you do? And she said, you're driving there? You're going to wait? All right, I'll get on the phone with you. So we talked the whole line. It was like an hour and 6 minutes. And by this time, I was the second to last car for the night. And it was so funny because it was so impressive because Jeremy had no idea who was in the drive-up, and he had somebody actually greeting and checking out the customer. But he came around the corner to thank me for waiting in line and my patience. And as soon as he saw my face, he said, oh my gosh, it's you. And it just impressed upon me that he was taking that time with every customer to thank them. And you're right. I've driven by and I've seen him outside in the line, in the rain, in the dark, with his tablet, just interacting with all of his customers. And it's really incredible. I think it's the first of many Moonburgers. So we're pretty special. We're pretty lucky to have it here in Kingston, right?
Absolutely. And I drove by there the other day. It was either a Wednesday or a Thursday, and it was around 12:30. And I noticed that the line had gone down a little bit. That I think there were only 6 cars there. And so that was around lunchtime. So I'm sure that things will calm down. Everybody wants to get there for the first couple days. And but I did partake in some of the food, and I agree with you that The Moon Burger, I couldn't tell the difference whether it was beef or not. So, and the fries are very good. So the one question I have, it's not really vegan, right?
So he doesn't have a vegan concept because he does have dairy cheese.
Yeah.
And but there's vegetarian options. He has vegan cheese options. So that's not his full focus to be a vegan location. And so, yeah, the burgers are like smashed into, there's like onions and they're smashed into the grill. And then there's cheese and then there's the crispy onion shreds on top and a special sauce and some lettuce. I mean, it's outstanding. It really is a great burger.
And me being a non-onions person, they will serve them without onions.
Yes, they will.
So
is that how you had it?
yes,
You're missing out on all the good stuff.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. It's funny because not that people really care about my taste, but I will have onion rings. But as far as onions, anything else, no. So let's move on from Moon Burger. I wish Jeremy a lot of luck. I don't think he needs it. I mean, it looks like it's been a smash hit. I'm glad it's a great location. I know. Well, I talked to him briefly a couple months ago. I will say this, that his theory, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that he really is trying, even though the location is right off the thruway, he sees this as more of catering to the local clientele, the people there in Ulster County. He'll serve anybody, obviously, but he seems to think that this is something more for the local people.
So I'm glad you pointed that out because he joined the chamber in May. So he joined the chamber months before opening. And he asked to meet with me. We met for coffee at Monkey Joe's, and we talked for a couple of hours. And what I learned from him is that he cares so much about the local community. He grew up in Massachusetts, went to school at Vassar, fell in love with the Hudson Valley, worked in the city for a while, and about 5 years ago came back to this area. He just loved it here so much. And he really does care about the local community. He wants to be engaged and involved, and he's not just talking the talk. You can see him walking that walk, and I just love that about Jeremy.
Yeah, he's has a great sense of community, which is nice. This is Rick Remsnyder with Jess Davis, a.k.a. Jess Delicious, Ulster County Regional Chamber of Commerce. We'll let her dig into that great food that she brought from Dietz Stadium, one of my favorite places. So now we've gone through for the chamber, where the Buy Local Expo was a huge success. Now we had the Business Recognition Awards dinner last night at Diamond Mills, which from all I understood was really a great event from the food, the hors d'oeuvres, the food, and then the awards. And, of course, we talked about Paula Mitchell doing a great job with the videos. So my question is, you're just going to kick up and relax until Christmas now, or just, let you just kind of chill out, or what else you got on the horizon
Well,
coming
I'll tell you something funny. Last night he said, why don't we just close the office tomorrow? And Val, Allison, and I looked at him and said, we have work to do. We can't. So, that's not what we do. We do have a new member meet and greet scheduled for November 4th. So that's something exciting. Of course, we're going to be having a breakfast on November 19th, and we're going to be celebrating the veterans. The county executive is going to be there. Stay tuned for that. Look for it on our website. It's going to be a really special breakfast
November
meeting.
19th at Best Western, or where?
No, we're going to be out at Wiltwick.
Oh, Wiltwick, okay.
Yep. Yeah. So moving it around a little bit. Jess Delicious is still in motion. So I was at Maggie Mays on the New Paltz Golf Course the other night, which is a sister restaurant of Garvin's in New Paltz. Really fun, really casual atmosphere, fantastic food. I was at Casa Vallarta the week prior, which is out in the town of Ulster. Super huge portions, great hospitality there. And I'm headed to Adams tomorrow to highlight some of the things like their sweet shop and their deli and their salad bar. There's some fun stuff happening this weekend, though, throughout our community.
Let's hear about it.
So Kiwanis Capers kicked off last night at J.W. Bailey. And it's always a fun show, the Capers.
Can we talk about who any of the stars are or any of the local personalities are there?
Well, I do know that Miriam Gibbons is one of them because...
I'm surprised.
And Cameron Rylance, our Tuesday host.
Cam?
Cam's he's been a Kiwanian for 30 years.
Wow. I'll be there tonight.
It started last night, Jess?
Yeah, last night was their opening night.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right?
Yep, and it's really affordable. It's like $10 a ticket.
Yeah, it always is.
Great
That's
cause.
their biggest fundraiser for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just like the Expo used to be our biggest one for Lions.
So get out there and support the Capers. You can pay at the door. I'm pretty sure you can pay at the door. I do have my tickets in hand. I'll be tomorrow evening. I'll be out at the Denizen Theater. They just launched Apples in Winter, which is a show that I'll be seeing. So I'm excited to go there.
I've been to Denizen, and it opened 2 or 3 years ago. It's right in the Water Street Market in New Paltz. A great opportunity to see some really unique theater. It's a nice facility. And I encourage people, it's very affordable too. So it's a nice theater, and I encourage people to go. What are they showing at Denizen?
It's Apples in Winter. Harry Lipstein was on the radio last week with Ward, and he was in the office, and he's just such a great guy.
I got to get Harry on too. He's fantastic.
Oh, he's fun. Yeah, you do. And then Sunday, get out and get moving. Jess Delicious, Ryan's Run. So it's the 7th annual Ryan's Run, and they just obtained the Ryan House up in Saugerties at the Old Knights of Columbus. They're hosting some really important meetings there for people that are in recovery from alcohol and substance abuse. I just saw they posted about a group that for parents or people that are grieving, that have lost a loved one. And so they're doing really important things, and they're hoping to get the house up and running where they can have individuals living there in the next 10 months. So the Ryan Run is really important. It's $20. I think you get a T-shirt still if you sign up. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. I haven't checked the weather. I'm just manifesting that.
I think it's going to be decent. It's going to be a little cool on Sunday. Somebody wanted me to play golf up in Sullivan County, and I think the high was 55. Let me check that. Actually, in Kingston, it's supposed to be 61 and sunny, so that's pretty good.
That's perfect weather. It's 11 a.m., so it's not too early in the morning. You can still get your sleep in and sip some coffee. And it's a walk or it's a run, and it's always a really inspirational community event. I love to attend the Ryan Run. So last year it was virtual. So hoping to see a lot of people out there supporting on Sunday.
I didn't get a chance to go to it, and I know it's past, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Mr. Busy, Tony Marmo, who was great. But I'm assuming, knowing you, that you must have gone to the Italian festival. Did you, and how was it?
I did, actually.
I'm not surprised.
I was there. I was there early on in the day because I was trying to get there for the opening ceremonies, which I got there just after, which is okay. I still got to see Mary Tuma and Bill Calderera, the Signora and the Signor of the Year. Just always a fun day. I love the Italian festival. The music was happy. There were children dancing around. They had a whole tent with children's activities. The Bruderhof was there, hands-on. So many people in the community coming together to make the event happen. Highlights of Italian heritage, and then the fun stuff like fried dough and Italian ice. The Savonas were out there with pizza. I missed Graziano's giant meatballs. I think they came later in the day. And then, of course, that spaghetti eating contest. I had to get out of there before they tried to get me in that.
I don't know why. I mean...
I don't know. They're brave doing that.
The spaghetti eating contest. I think one of the things that Ward Todd, your boss, talked me into when he used to do the wing fling was, hey, I had somebody can't make it. Would you mind being one of the judges? And I said, well, I was going anyway. I never realized you had to eat so many wings. I didn't eat after being a judge for the wing fling, which at that point I think was might have been Cantine Field. Can't remember. But I didn't eat wings for like 6 months after that. So I'm sure if you would have had the pasta, you would have had the same type
Right?
of...
Probably never again. Now, how many wings do you think you ate?
Well, I would have to say probably in the neighborhood of 18.
Oh, that's nothing.
Well, for me, that's a lot. You know me. Plus spicy, too, all barbecue. I'm Mr. Bland. So, but anyway, we have a caller. Go right ahead.
Good morning, Jess Delicious and Rick.
George, how are you?
Good morning.
Very good, sir, even though I'm coming down with a cold. But, Jess, when you go to work today, say good morning to the morning mayor of Kingston for me.
That's Mr. Todd.
That's what he used to sign on when he was at another radio station in Kingston in the morning. He was the morning mayor of Kingston.
He's one heck of a guy, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's one fine gentleman. And another item that's coming up that you can promote is Green Acres Golf Course is having a free day of golf for all veterans on November the 11th.
Wow. How special is that?
That is fantastic, and as a veteran and stuff, they're very good. I've, like the town of Esopus, American Legion Post is holding a raffle, our main fundraiser this year, and we draw the winners on Veterans Day. So afterwards, I plan on scooting over to the golf course, and Rick has played there quite a few times. The course is in excellent shape. It is in fantastic shape. I was out there yesterday morning.
I'll be out there about 9:20 this morning, George.
On the dot?
Well,
right.
I don't know. I got to pack up a lot of food here, but yeah. So Brian Bonesteel. That's a very good event for all our vets, and he's really community minded, great guy, and yeah, the course has just improved so much. And I see George; he's one of the regulars out there. So, since you got a cold, you probably won't be golfing today, or?
Nope, I got my golfing in yesterday. I've got to try to break this code because we got Garden Country tomorrow morning at 8:00 in the morning, and I've started working the early voting down at Newport College on Sunday, so I'll be down there the 2 Sundays before Election Day and 4 days out of the upcoming week. So it's going to be a busy week. Hopefully, as the weather holds, we get a couple more good dates of golfing in.
Oh, we're claiming that, George. We're claiming good weather.
Yes, let's hope so. And Dietz Stadium does have very good food, as you guys have been tasting all morning.
George is one of these guys that I've gotten to know over the last couple of years. He is probably more busy now in retirement than anybody I know. I mean, do you really feel like you're retired, George?
Well, yes, I do, because I don't have to get up and get out in the morning, but being involved with 4 different veterans groups and stuff, it does take up some of your time, and hey, it's all for a great cause and stuff, and we need more of the people who served on active duty to join, like the Legion, the VFW, or any other veterans group around the area, because we are losing members. But I know you guys are getting ready to close, so thank you very much, and say good morning to the morning mayor of Kingston for me.
I sure will. And George, thank you for your service, and thank you for continuing to serve the community.
It was an honor. And Ricky, you're at Boyce's next Thursday, 8:30, right?
That's it. You're going to be there, right?
In the morning.
Good. Look forward to it.
Bye.
So, looks like we're wrapping up. Jess, I appreciate you more than I can thank you for this feast. I don't know how I'm going to go back to my
I usually go to the diner after I get off the air. I'm not going. I don't have to go today.
I can't now. From now on, I can't bring any gas station food here because
gas station. Whoa, what gas station?
Well, what she's referring to is I brought a bagel from Quick Check. So.
I heard that he likes bagels, not
Quick
toasted.
Check actually, Quick Check actually has some pretty good subs, man.
Yeah, and they're not bad.
Their food is actually not too bad. I'm not really big on their breakfast, but I've had their lunch before. Their subs are not too bad, and they're reasonably priced. So.
Yeah, Quick Check's not.
Well, if you're just eating bread.
Yeah, and their soup, they have 10 different soups.
Yeah,
like 8 different soups. Their soup isn't too bad either. Just make sure you give it a quick, stir it a little bit before you go pour it into the bowl.
You know, I don't want to say where I went, but because I don't want to disparage them, but I stopped doing that for places that had soup because I saw an individual go in there one time, took a spoon and tasted it, and
dude!
So that was the end of me.
That's not gonna work.
Sorry, but that was my.
What a way to end the show, Rick.
Yeah. All right, well, we're out of time. Rick Remsnyder, thank you for hosting today. Jess, thank you for coming in. We will be back Monday with Medical Monday. The both of you have a great weekend. Listeners, have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.
All right, go Giants.